Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, November 28th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Sonia Shrivastava. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in Upper Marlboro. Prince George's fire and police detectives are conducting a joint investigation into a fatal blaze this morning in Upper Marlboro. Firefighters responded to the 1500 block of Buck Lane around 2:15 a.m. It took crews 45 minutes to extinguish the flames outside the structure. They then entered the home to put out leftover hotspots and made a shocking discovery. Rochelle Metzger has the latest from the scene.
The early morning fire may be out, but burning questions remain surrounding a body discovered among the charred debris of this abandoned home on Buck Lane.
Fire investigators have concluded their on-scene portion of the investigation. They determined that they found some evidence that homeless people, vagrants, or squatters had been occupying the abandoned home. They don't know for how long, and they didn't get into what type of evidence, but they do believe there were some people there living in that house.
As you can see, this home is completely gutted with many of the charred remnants laying out here in the front yard. This here was a beam that was once part of the ceiling. Officials believe this fire may have been burning up to an hour before anyone even noticed.
Once the firefighters had the fire extinguished, they went inside the home and they found a deceased body. The body is unrecognizable. It's impossible to tell at this point the gender. The investigation is open and ongoing.
So they don't know if it was someone just trying to stay warm or if it was intentionally set?
At this point, they're not looking at anything suspicious. So we are looking towards an accidental cause of the fire, but it's still necessary to have the autopsy results before we come to a conclusion about what might have caused the fire. We know that some of the neighbors or law enforcement officers in the area said there may have been two people, as many as two people living there, but only one person was found.
Can you confirm reports that say this is not the first time there's been a fire at that location?
That's true. We were out there earlier in the year for a fire, a significant fire, but it was extinguished, and that house was boarded up.
Now, right across from where all this happened are CSX tracks. Because investigators were working so close by, train traffic was stopped, but has since resumed. The body is now with the medical examiner, who will be tasked with piecing together the remains to figure out exactly who the victim was and how he died. In Upper Marlboro, I'm Rochelle Metzger, CTV News.
All right, thank you, Rochelle. So what will you do if you win? If you are one of the thousands of people who has gotten bitten by the Powerball fever, you know what I'm talking about. The winner of tonight's drawing will walk away with $550 million. This is the second largest jackpot in history. And good luck to our CTV staffers who got tickets.
With some reports still outstanding, it looks like campaign contributions in this year's state gambling battle will exceed $93 million, thus making gaming expansion by far the most expensive campaign in Maryland history. Records from the State Board of Elections show that proponents of table games and a Prince George's casino outspent opponents in the final weeks of the campaign. For Maryland Jobs and Schools, the main committee supporting the measure reports spending more than $19 million in the final stretch, much of which comes from MGM Resorts International. Meanwhile, opponent Penn National spent about $14 million in the same period. Overall, MGM and its ally committees put forth more than $49 million, while Penn National's committee went through just over $44 million.
And it seems MGM spent money on more than just gambling in Maryland. A new State Board of Elections report shows that hefty checks from the entertainment giant and a Baltimore super lawyer helped fund the campaign to legalize same-sex marriage in the final days before the election. Ballot question 6 passed by 4 percentage points, thanks in part to Marylanders for Marriage Equality. The main group supporting the campaign, according to the Baltimore Sun, raised slightly more than $5 million, outraising and outspending opponents by more than 2 to 1. Meanwhile, the main organization behind the campaign to defeat the measure, the Maryland Marriage Alliance, reportedly raised just over $2 million. Records show sizable contributions from the Catholic Society Knights of Columbus and the National Organization for Marriage.
Larimar Management responds to a story we aired on Monday regarding complaints lodged by some tenants at a Victoria Station apartment complex in Langley Park. CTV News told you how the ceiling collapsed inside Jovita Hernandez's bathroom while her young son was bathing. Larimar says it has no record of a complaint from Hernandez, even though there is a 24-hour emergency number to call. The community manager says the only call received was on Friday from Casa de Maryland. Larimar says it sent someone out to repair the unit, but no one let them in. In addition, since the current management took over in January, the company says it has addressed all outstanding structural complaints. In terms of the private security force hired, Larimar says it was the community that asked for more security due to crime in the neighborhood. And for a fraudulent lease that was being reportedly drawn up to evict the Hernandez family, Larimar says it takes those complaints very seriously and will look into the allegations.
Well, did you know that the third leading cause of death for youth between the ages of 10 and 24 is suicide? According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 4,000 lives are lost each year, and counselors say that number isn't decreasing. Risk factors range from a history of depression or mental illness to drug abuse, which can be noticed through various symptoms.
They're different for each person, but in general, somebody who's withdrawn, somebody who's depressed for a period of more than 2 weeks, somebody who talks about it. Most people give signals. They'll say things like, I'm tired, or I can't deal with life anymore, or, it'll be better when I'm not here. And a lot of folks will think, gosh, they're not serious. You should always take it seriously and always ask the question.
Prevention counselors urge anyone who notices or is experiencing warning signs to get treatment now.
Treatments we have found is counseling, and we figure that if we are able to help people to articulate their feelings, find out that they're not alone, and find some solutions to the problems, then it certainly reduces the incidence of suicide. Too often when persons don't know that they can talk about it to someone, that it's okay to say that I'm feeling alone, to say that it's okay that I'm feeling sad, then they feel their only option is to just end their life. So we hope that through counseling they can identify additional options, but also identify supports that are available for them.
Now, if you or a loved one is experiencing suicidal thoughts, you can call the county's Division of Addictions and Mental Health at 301-883-7857 for face-to-face counseling, or dial 211 for immediate phone assistance. You can also visit crisischat.org for online intervention.
Despite having the top-rated schools in the nation, new results show that Maryland has an 83% graduation rate among high school students. According to the U.S. Department of Education, this is a 4% decrease from the 2009-2010 school year. The data puts Maryland behind 11 other states in the nation. The statistics show the highest number of graduates in the state are Asian students. Those with the lowest graduation percentage are Hispanics. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Sonia Shrivastava.